Futbol the Europa podcast. This is your host Blaze, and today alongside me is Carlos. After a long time, welcome back, Carlos.
Thank you for having me back again.
It's been a long while since we last recorded, so it a lot has happened in football since then. So we were thinking about making it an all Real Madrid thing podcast. So uh, maybe we should start from the Man City game and the upcoming Man City game, which will be in a week or two, and then we can
Yep.
talk about El Clasico, and then we can move on to the other issues like the Champions League, La Liga, and then rotations, Zidane's policy, and players' performance, and then finally the Betis game, which is scheduled to be played tonight.
Yep.
Yeah. So, how do you see the Man City game, and how do you think that the team responded in the El Clasico after the Man City loss?
I think the Man City game we played well. I think it had two halves to it. One is I felt because Pep Guardiola has lost so many away games, and it has a very bad record in Champions League away. I think he was very overtly cautious. Probably I felt he was a little too cautious when he played against us, which kind of helped us in a little bit. But I felt we pressed also really well to make it difficult for Man City. Obviously, well documented. We lost the game heavily in the last 15 minutes, where we, lost 15 minutes of concentration in the game, and we lost. Basically, that's why we lost the game. But yeah, to lose at home 2-1, it's obviously not the best of result, but there's enough, I think, for us to progress through the next field, through the next leg. But yeah, I would still say it's 60-40 to Man City right now.
Yeah, but how do you see the team's performance? Like, for what I gathered from the Man City game, Real Madrid were like pretty good for like 75, 80 minutes of the game, and that's what even Zidane said in his press conference after the game. And in the last 10, 25, 10, 15 minutes, the team lost a bit of focus. They panicked a bit and they paid for a few
Lost a little bit
mistakes.
of the
So,
intensity.
do you see it as a wholesome performance by the team, or will there be many changes to the second leg?
I think in the second leg they will play a similar format. It'll be interesting to see how Man City approach the game, because I think from our point of view, there's not too much we can change. I don't think so. I think he will still opt for the four in midfield uh, formation that he goes by. It would be nice if he could. I think I've always felt that from the very beginning of the season that we should be playing a 4-4-2 diamond from the very beginning, and in my headspace, the tip of the diamond should be Hazard, with the top two being Benzema and Jovic. So I would like to see Jovic and Benzema start up front for the next leg. I don't think that's what Zidane will do, though. I would still expect it to be Vinicius and Benzema. So I think I don't think so. We will change our tactics a lot. It'll be interesting to see how Man City changes their tactics, in the sense that obviously Pep did come. He came scared, I felt, into the match. He came with an intention not to lose more than to win, which is very unlike Pep. But since he has a lead, it'll be interesting to see how he plays. So I felt that because his he did not play his own game at Bernabeu. Man City was not at peak power. So if they come at peak power, it'll be interesting to see how we handle the game. But from our end, I don't expect too much changes to the Zidane format that has been going on right now. I see the four diamondish midfield, and I think this time it will be Vinicius and Benzema up front, with Vinicius replacing Hazard.
Yeah, that's interesting to find out. And I was thinking that you saw the Mariano goal, right? Everyone saw it. And that was in El Clasico. So, is there any chance for Mariano to feature for at least 2 or 3 minutes in the Man City game? Do you think so?
Uh, I think like I said, since I expect Vinicius and Benzema to start, it really depends on who he wants to have as the second option. George was not selected for Clasico squad only. The entire squad
Yeah.
he was not selected. Which is weird, considering he's not injured. So I don't think we'll select both of them. So I don't know who he will select. I don't think Mariano is somebody who has the confidence of Zidane. Compared to Jovic. Not that Jovic has great confidence either, but I don't know. I don't see unless like how I said, unless both Benzema and one of Jovic and Mariano is playing, generally the other one will be on the bench. So yeah, I'm not really sure which of the two. I think, but one of the two will be there on the bench. And I think if Man City score a goal, we will definitely, go forward and try to create, he'll try to bring in another forward into the game. Or
So
not necessarily even if Man City scores, because we still need to score two. So if we are goalless, or if you have not scored by 50-60 minutes, I would expect him to throw in an additional forward.
yeah, that's quite right. I think Zidane will approach the game as he has approached all his Champions League games. Like his aim is to get a goal within the first 10-20 minutes of the game, especially in the second legs when he's trailing and stuff like that. So they are like full of intensity, like short passes and one touch football and very intense game, very high press. And if things work out in that manner and we score an early goal, say 1-0 or even 2-0 for that matter, and then it's all square. Because if we
Yeah,
score one goal, then it's 2-2 on aggregate and we go to penalties. So,
no, but if it is
s-
2-2 on aggregate, we would still lose now because away goals is for Man City.
yeah, away goals is for Man City, but if we have one goal and the game is like on an aggregate draw, still there is some pressure on Man City. Like, okay,
True, that,
it's
that
almost
that's definitely
20 minutes.
there's
We have
always pressure
conceded
on
a
Man
goal.
City.
They
Yep.
are intense. They're pressing high up, and the pressure shifts to the other team because even if you look at the history of the both of the sides, Man City don't have any many players who are experienced in Champions League, but whereas Real Madrid are
Yeah,
uh,
exactly. That's
yeah,
definitely there. So Man
an
City
experienced.
need to score, have to score two goals basically to put any sort of pressure on Real Madrid. Even if we score one goal,
True that.
because it doesn't change our game tactics, we still need two goals.
So the
So
argument which the narrative which is on social media and on amongst all the other journalists and fans and the whole football world, uh, it surprises me. They all saying that the pressure is on Real Madrid, but in my opinion, the pressure is actually on Man City.
I obviously you could say there is pressure on Real Madrid because we need to score two. But I
Yeah,
don't
but
think
I
that's
think
why I said it's a 60-40. I say like that because if it is a different team, for example, if say Bayern was 2-1 ahead of us, or maybe somebody like Bayern was, or Liverpool, for example, were 2-1 ahead, I would say it would be 75 in favor of the other team. But because it is Man City and they don't have enough pedigree in UCL. I think that is why I give us still that and because of our pedigree in UCL, I think we still are a 40-60 over here.
yeah, let's see how that turns out because the other thing is that you have that kind of pressure. Okay, we are almost through and we don't need to bottle it. We don't have to bottle it. And that builds an extra pressure on you. Whereas Real Madrid has always been the side that the world counts you off. Like, okay, you won once UCL, you won't win it the other times consecutively. And then, okay, you won it two times consecutively, you won't win it third time. But that's what happens with Real Madrid. The world counts them off. They feel that, okay, we are not the favorites anymore. And then they go out and win. That's where Real Madrid excels the most, I guess. So that's their
Yeah, I don't
mentality.
think we have any pressure issue. Like you said, definitely we will not. The occasion won't be too big for us. It could possibly be too big for them. Most likely
Yeah,
it will be too big for them. Hopefully, but yeah, it'll be interesting. It's interesting to see. For me, I'm more interested in seeing how Man City, especially Pep, approaches the match. When his first leg selection was baffling. And obviously he gets credit for winning the match. I still felt that he was overtly cautious. This is not the kind of game where he had to be so cautious, I felt. But anyhow, he gets applauded for winning the game 2-1. He's not won an away game in, I think, quite a long time. So good for him. And let's see how he approaches his side. I'm very sure, like you said, mentioned, we will be high. There'll be high pressing intensity in the beginning, and we will definitely try to score a goal, before the first 20 to 30 minutes.
yeah, that's pretty right. And before we move on to the next topic, I would just like to add that Man City have an history in bottling the UCL in their own home. Last time it was with Tottenham Hotspurs, and before that I forgot who it was, but they usually mess it up for their own selves. Maybe before that it was Liverpool, I guess, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, but in Liverpool they already lost in the away tie. They played the first away tie and I think they lost that match 3-0 or something like that.
Yep. So yeah, the memory haunts them, I guess. And so yeah, the pressure will be on Man City more, I guess. That's my opinion of it. But of course, the score is 2-1 in favor of them. So maybe you can just say it's almost 55 and 45 and something like that.
So is
Anyways,
KDB is injured, right? He has a back problem. He's not. Is he expected to play for us? Play against us? Sorry.
I don't think so. I can check it up. And
I know he has a back
Barrett,
injury. He's not playing. I'm pretty sure he's not playing this weekend. I don't know what his status is for our match. So that's also interesting. Though they have a deeper squad, I guess you could say. Argue.
yeah, so was missing the match day in this. So he's injured right now, and
Yes.
he's not in perfect condition ahead of Sunday's Manchester Derby. So
Hmm.
maybe by the time we play against Man City, he will be ready. But as of now, he's injured, so there's nothing more to add on it.
We'll need to really take advantage of Laporte's absence also. So if
We
KDB is
will
also
also lose out
there,
on Ramos, right?
sorry.
Ramos isn't playing in the second leg, right?
Yes, Ramos isn't playing, but like I said, our I think if we press, it'll be interesting to see because if we press enough, if we we'll have to maintain high intensity pressing across 90 minutes. That's the main thing because defensively, because we'll be pressing high, we're going to have to play with also high line in order to get the goal first. So ideally, if you manage to get the two goals early, and if you drop back a lot, it'll be difficult for them because they're very bad at playing a side that is very compact and sits back a lot. And also, even if they score, we have the advantage that even if they score one goal, it goes into a draw status. We don't lose the tie altogether.
Yeah.
Obviously, this predicted on the fact that we score two goals quickly. We should be able to take advantage of it, considering that Laporte is not playing and the defense has been shaky throughout the year. Only thing is that right now we don't have in-form attackers.
Yep. Anyways, we can just move on to the next topic now, which is the El Clasico. So I'll just connect it to the previous discussion only. We played against Man City like a week before the El Clasico, 3 or 4 days before the Clasico.
Yep.
And the, what difference did you notice? Because for me, it was quite a similar game. We just we were more consistent throughout the game. We didn't lose the bit of intensity which we lost against Man City, and that paid us in the El Clasico with the victory of 2-0. How do you read that?
I, I felt we played better in the Man City game than we played in the El Clasico.
Yep.
I felt the El Clasico was in pure football cliche, it was a game of two halves. I guess in the first half, for me in the first half, Barcelona played better and they created the better chances. In the second half, we played much better and we outplayed them all over the park, I felt. So for me, there are two aspects to it. One is that I felt that even peak Barcelona is not as good as Man City, according to me. On top of that, because I always felt that when they made the Setien change in the middle of the year, they are running this risk of losing everything. Setien could probably be a good appointment over the long term, but for the current season, I don't think he's a good appointment because it'll take a lot of time for them to absorb his ideas and to play the way he wants to play. On top of that, their own recruitment is not good enough. Has not been good enough to tailor to what Setien wants to do also. And also, obviously, Setien has a record of being defensively bad. So I felt that his game was not stamped into Barcelona. Yet they had I felt they played better in the first half and created more better chance, or actually the kind of chances where they should have been up ahead. I think we had only one good chance in the first half. I believe it was the Benzema. So so basically, I felt in the El Clasico game, the first half, they had all the possession. They played better. Not all the possession. I felt they played better. They created better chances, and they should probably have been two goals up. But in the second half, I think we played better. So compared to the Man City game, I think we played better in the Man City game, even though we lost, than in the El Clasico where we won. Um, and overall, I think the Barcelona is not, especially under Setien, is not playing peak Barcelona, nor are they playing peak Setien style Barcelona. And I always felt that when they bought Setien in mid-season, they have a chance of losing it all because it's very difficult. It'll be very difficult for the team to adopt to Setien's method in a short period of time to make them competitive enough in all competitions. But it's good reaction from our players considering we were in a very similar situation last year where within a period of a week we basically ended up having a trophyless season. So this particular week was crucial for us to play well in the Clasico and keep our La Liga hopes up. And also, I generally feel that this particular season under Zidane, he's very clearly focused on La Liga and building consistency in our performance, so that we not only win the La Liga, we make ourselves strong enough in future to be able to win multiple competitions in the same season.
Yeah, I think Setien is a good signing for Barcelona, but again, as you said, it's not a good signing for this season. But and you also have to consider the fact that Betis, they were already playing pretty inconsistently throughout the season, and the squad also seems to be aging, and they need to revamp a lot of stuff. Like old players need to be given the mentor role, or they need to make way for the new talents, and the new talents which have come in, they need proper uh, adjustment period. Like Frankie De Jong and Dembele has been injured for a long time, and Arthur and other players which are over there, they need a proper system. They need a proper understanding with the players, and it will take time. Like it's similar to how Klopp came for Liverpool in 2015, I guess.
Yes.
But Liverpool were worse off than Barcelona right now. But I'm just saying that it's a similar process where you need a season or two to actually see the differences of the coaching methods.
Yep.
Anyway, we have to talk about Real Madrid. So Real Madrid, I think again Zidane, Isco has been an integral role for Zidane in these two matches. So his performance has been crucial, especially in the diamond formation. And I think Real Madrid can create a lot of chances. That's not an issue. And that was also the issue with the previous season. We could create a lot of chances, but we couldn't finish them. And if you look at the starting lineup and stuff like that, we are not even starting Bale right now. And Rodrigo was not called up because of his red card in Castilla game. So I don't know what changed in the duration of this uh, in this duration. What changed? Like from last season to this season, we are almost starting the same team. As R is injured, we are creating chances and we are not scoring goals.
So I would say Rodrigo's aspect is interesting because he went through a patch where he was not scoring goals, and I think he's not being selected to protect him. I generally feel that's why Zidane is not even selecting part of the squad. I think he's given more protection, or he's
No,
being
but he
given
couldn't play
protection
the
to
El
do.
Clasico because he was given a red
That
card,
was
right?
last time, and that's just last time. I'm saying, if you look at recently, if you look at the last
Yeah,
2-3 months, he's not making much squad game. He's not making much of the squads.
yeah,
Like, even forget the first six, the 11 on the team or the people on the bench. He's not even making the squad gets called up. So I think he's being protected. That's how I see it, because when he was playing good at the beginning half of the season, he was scoring goals, and then he had a small dip where he stopped scoring goals. And I think because there's too much pressure at that point of time to score goals, I think he's being protected. I think Vinicius does not have that much of an issue right now because people have already have an experience of seeing him play, and they know that he's not exactly a prolific goal scorer. He's more of a the guy who runs onto defenders and tries to create space and movement and trickery. So I think, and because he's the only person literally in the squad who can do that right now, Hazard being injured, I think he gets a little more, that he gets a little more slack in terms of if he doesn't score goals. But yeah, generally, obviously the main thing that changed is that Benzema has lost form. The other thing is, I have always, like I said in the beginning of the season, I still think that he should try playing Benzema and Jovic up front,
yeah.
especially since
That's
Hazard is injured, because Isco's natural position is a 10, and if they play them both front, I think it will be interesting. When even if Benzema moves out of position, you have a central figure in the box to whom the crosses, or somebody, a focal point in the box you need to have.
yeah, that's right. I think that's what I was saying. Like we have the lineup which can create chances, and we are doing that. Vinicius, Isco, and Benzema, all three are very great in playmaking. But when it comes to scoring, the Vinicius goal which came in the El Clasico was a deflect from Pique, and the other goal which came was from Mariano. So at a point you have to ask, okay, we are creating all these chances, but we also need someone to put these chances in the back of the net. We need someone to bury these chances. And earlier it was Cristiano Ronaldo, and now we can have Jovic or Bale or Rodrigo or even Mariano. But I don't know why Zidane doesn't really look into that aspect of the game to incorporate all these goal scorers and chance creators together in the team and play a formation which is beneficial uh, for the whole team. So
It reminds
why
me
do
of
you
how
think
he
so that
handles the.
Zidane's not really looking into that aspect?
I don't know. I think it reminds me a little bit of how he handled his last season in the first term, where Cristiano Ronaldo had a very poor run of goals in the first half of the season, but he
Yeah,
continued with him. I think he's going to do the same thing with Benzema. He'll just continue with Benzema till his form comes back. I think
yeah,
that's
but
just
Benzema's
going to
form
happen.
has always been about creating chances, right? It's very rare for him to score goals. If he scores goals good enough, he gets additional credit for that. But Benzema's best performance comes when he's playing with someone who can put the ball in the goal. So like we can play him up front with, as you said, Rodrigo or Mariano or Jovic or anyone. But the thing
I
is
would
that
like to see it. I don't know why he doesn't see it like that.
yeah, that's what I
Not
wanted
sure.
to know. That do you think there is particular thought process going behind these decisions, or it's just subjective?
I think Zidane is very instinct type trustworthy kind of person and player. No, like when he
Yeah,
returned to France for the 2006 World Cup, he's very insistent that Makelele has to be there. I think Vieira had to be there, and certain players that he wanted had to be there. That's the only condition in which he would come out of retirement. And I think he has the same process when it comes to coaching. Also, he has this trust of certain players, and those players just need to be there. So I think in his midfield, he's okay. He seems to trust Benzema more than anybody else, and it's. I don't think so. He trusts Jovic that much yet. And to be fair, I felt that Jovic has played. He did not play to the best of his ability. And not, I would say he did not play to the best of his ability. It's just that Jovic is the kind of striker for which we have never played to. In the sense that we have never played with the idea of a proper in your box number 9 for a long time. I wouldn't consider Cristiano exactly as that because Cristiano still plays with Benzema a lot, and Cristiano can do a lot more. But like a proper number 9 who's in your box, like like a Ruud van Nistelrooy, that type of RV and kind of number 9 who's always in the box, a focal point of attack who's expected to meet crosses, that kind of system we have never played, and Zidane has never played also. So I think maybe it's like that comfort zone. Maybe he doesn't know how to get into that zone yet, or he doesn't want to get out of his comfort zone.
yeah, that's quite interesting. And do you think that Bale can be incorporated for the team's betterment? Because he can obviously score goals in big matches. He has shown that before. Yes, he is very inconsistent throughout the season, but more or less he can sometimes contribute in ways which, when the team is struggling, he can just come on and create the difference, like the Champions League final against Liverpool. Uh, it was a very uneven match for Real Madrid. We were not at the best of our game, and we were suffering. And all of a sudden, Bale comes in and he scores two goals in a manner which really takes the confidence out of the other team, and he can make that impact. And if we are not using Mariano and Jovic or Rodrigo for that matter, maybe we can just play Bale and Benzema together with Isco and because Hazard is injured, so we can play Isco in the diamond formation, and maybe that can solve a bit of our scoring issues, right?
Difficult to say in terms of Bale because Bale is not motivated. Like I remember in the Champions League final, I would say he was more motivated. One, it was very clear that he wanted to prove a point, and once he proved his point, he wanted to come out of the Champions League criticizing, his lack of selection and criticizing Zidane. And at that point of time, I still think he wanted to play for a big club. I just feel that after the season, the last season, where the first season where after Zidane left, when he was not playing good and he was not getting the affection that he wanted, he was very happy to leave to China and ensure he gets the salary that he gets and play for lower league. So I felt he has lost that motivation. I don't think so Zidane can bring that motivation out of him also, because his probably the main reason for his lack of motivation has been Zidane. So I'm not really sure with Bale how it worked. Moreover, I feel that Bale is like, from a tactical point of view, I don't think so Bale fits the current system, and it's very difficult for a person who's not motivated to want to do something. I feel
I think,
like
but
if you're really sorry.
yeah, I think if he can just play for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and as a substitution, and he can come at the 70th, 75th minute, make some good runs, maybe create some chances, and who knows, he can just bury
But
a
I don't
chance
think
like he did
he
against
has that
Liverpool.
willpower, to do that. I don't think he has that, like he doesn't. He's playing. He seems to be playing for the sake of playing rather than actually wanting to play to make a difference, make an impact, win. I think he's suffering from the fact that he doesn't feel that whatever he does anything it will prove anything to the people in Madrid. On top of that, I don't think so. He has enough.
Yeah, that
He has enough
evident from
motivation
the
from the national team.
yeah,
Like if you think from the national team, even if he plays in China, he'll get selected to the national team squad. It's not going to change anything.
yeah,
He could, even if he doesn't play, still he'll probably be selected. That's the
yeah,
unfortunately that's
because
the state.
Wales don't really have that strong of a squad in national team, so
Correct. So if he wanted to, if he was ready to cut down on his salary, he could go to any EPL club, would probably have him, and who would start him. So I'm saying doesn't want to give up all that. He wants to keep his salary, and you're ready to play for lower league. So I feel it's a motivation thing. If the person isn't motivated, it's very difficult for a coach to count on him to make a difference, and it's very difficult for him to play with the desire to make a difference. Unless that motivation thing can be solved, it's not going to happen, and I don't think so it is going to be solved anytime soon. I feel I've come to terms with the fact that Bale will play out his contract with Real Madrid, and nobody will buy him before that, and he will not have much of an impact before till his
about
contract.
we can do a whole new podcast, and we can still not cover the enough the yeah, we can still not cover the whole conversation about him because
Yep.
it's like endless number of opinions and views on Bale because yeah, yeah, you were right. He's not that motivated and stuff like that, and that was also fueled by Zidane's comments during the before the start of the season that he will be sold in 24 hours and stuff like that. But anyways, let's not get into that. So tonight Real Madrid play against Real Betis, and uh, Ruby said that we cannot pay too much of respect to Real Madrid, and we will make things difficult for them. And seeing the past record of Betis against Real Madrid, things have been difficult for them. Of course, the coach before was Kike Setien, but uh, now Betis is not in that good of a form with Ruby. But against big teams like Real Madrid, it shows up and they do show their quality. So, how do you think the game will go? And what are your thoughts about that?
I think it'll be interesting to see how our team approaches this. This will be definitely a mental test because they'll be eyeing the Man City game. And on top of that, they have just won the Clasico. So this is the kind of game where you could undo everything that you've done in the previous game. So I think it's a mentality. So I generally feel that we have a problem. We don't have a mentality problem in the Champions League, but we have a huge mentality problem in La Liga. In the sense that we don't look at each team as a stepping stone to win the league. We just seem like, oh, we can win this, and we don't normally put our full effort. So for me, it's a mentality thing. Obviously, right now, even with the fact that we don't have in form attackers, this is still a game that we should easily be able to win. So also, I would I don't think the squad has come out yet. So I was hoping that this time at least we would be able to see some sort of surprise in terms of attack. I would like to see uh, either Mariano or Jovic at least play. At least I would expect Jovic to be part of the squad because he was not even selected for the squad last time. So I'm interested to see how we approach the game from a mental perspective and whether it gives any clues to the Champions League game.
Yeah. So, looking at the league, right, the rankings, Barcelona are the league leaders with 27 games played, and we have only 26 games played. So if we win against Betis tonight, so we will be 1 point ahead of Barcelona. So it's only 1 point gap. And then if we if we tend to draw a game and we are level with Barcelona, we will be at on head-to-head basis because we the first Clasico was drawn and the second one was won by Real Madrid. And so yeah, it's a very tight league right now, and I think that we are writing off Barcelona a bit too soon. Don't you think so? Because Real Madrid tend
Oh, I
to.
haven't written them off. I haven't written them off. I expect the league to be up and down entire season because neither are we consistent nor are they consistent. And I would say in the first time in a long time, I would say we are pretty much equal, especially because of the fact that Messi is in really really bad form goal wise because of his health, I believe. So I think we are equally good and equally bad in a very long time. I've not seen. I don't think so. We've been equally good and equally bad in the same season in a very long time. So this will. I'm not writing them off at all. But I want, like I said, we've not had the mentality to win a league for quite some time. Like the proper mentality that is required to win a league, we have not had it for quite some time. And also, it is it is kind of difficult for us to do that easily. So it and another aspect is all about which is true is that one of the reasons also that we are in the league is because when we were screwing up badly in the first 2 months of the season, Barcelona was equally screwing up with us. So yeah, it's all right now. It's all about who is most consistent. So that I think that aspect is important, and how you manage expectations for both La Liga and Champions League.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to see how. I'm more interested in the mentality. I think we have the squad to win the league, considering the problems that Barcelona are facing. But I'm not sure whether we have the mentality yet.
Yeah, and I think even the Champions League will make a difference because if one of the teams is knocked out in the Champions League, so they will focus their whole objective to the La Liga, and of course that will make a difference. But 11 games to go, I guess, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 27 to 8, and 12 games to go for us before the Betis game. So 11 more games and 11 more games and 33 points to be paid for, and things could change pretty fast. But the interesting part is that the league will be won under 90 points this time, and that really shows the quality of both the teams which have put forward because La Liga is a league which usually you go for 90 plus points, like 95, 97, or even 100 points in some record seasons. So, do you think it is a good thing for La Liga that there is more competition, or do you think it's bad for teams like Real Madrid and Barcelona who are not up to their best level?
I think there is what you say a small gap, or there's so much tightness in the league is because of the fact that we and Barcelona were equally bad. Um, I don't necessarily think of any other reason. First of all, we both were equally bad, and Athletic Madrid were not able to capitalize it on top of it also. So obviously, with their change, in personnel and changes that they have made in their squad, they were also not able to capitalize it. So I would say this is more the fact that the league is so tight this time has got more to do with the fact that there's a lot of changes from Real Madrid, a lot of changes in Barcelona, a lot of changes in Atletico Madrid, and nobody's able to capitalize. So it'll take maybe a season or two to see a more dominant force come out. At which point of time, either it'll go back to where a two-legged race where two teams compete for the title with the others quite far behind, or else you will see one team being very dominant as it generally is. So you'll have to. I think because of the transition period, we don't know yet. Unless the transition is over and we see somebody come up, you will see. So I would say it's a mixture of both. Our incompetency in able to in incorporating a pure goal scorer into our squad, Barcelona's very poor recruitment strategy to help their squad in terms of developing for the future while maintaining their present aging stars, and Atletico's inability to wrap into a new system properly.
Yeah, that's right. I think we are almost over the time limit. So before we end this podcast, would you like to give your predictions for the game tonight?
For the game tonight against Sociedad, against Betis, sorry,
Yeah,
I hope to see we win 2-0.
2-0. Okay. I would just give Betis a bit more credit and I will go for 2-1 in Real Madrid's favor. So let's hope for the best, and I hope I'm proven wrong and Carlos is proven right, and we keep a clean sheet. But let's see how it goes. And thank you for listening to the podcast, I guess. And if you have any questions and you would like us to answer them, we would love to do so. Just write down in the comments below, and we will answer them next week. Thank you so much, and we will try to be more regular with our podcast now. Sorry for the delay, and thank you so much, Carlos, for coming. And it's been a real pleasure. All the best for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. See ya.
See ya.